This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. A day game as we wrap up the 5-game series from PNC Park. It's the St. Louis Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And welcome to Cardinals baseball. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Brad Thompson is with us. The Cardinals trying to make it 4 in a row over the Pirates. And a week from today, Brad, the regular season is over. And the Cardinals, with a week to go, control their own destiny.
It's amazing how quickly we've gotten to this point, isn't it? Just a week left in the regular season. But I'm guessing if you ask the players, it doesn't feel like it's gone quickly. They've played so much, but you're absolutely right. They are in the driver's seat right now. So if they keep battling, keep fighting, they're going to find themselves in the postseason.
Couple of more starts for Jack Flaherty in this regular season, and it begins today. He's been very good at PNC.
He has for sure. Last time out, though, a little uncharacteristic for Jack Flaherty. He had his struggles against the Brewers, and he mainly struggled with location. A couple examples here. Yachty wants this thing for sure down and away. Not quite where he wants it. Trying to go backdoor with the breaking ball. Catches way too much of the plate, but you are absolutely right when it comes to Jack Flaherty and his dominance against the Pirates. You look at the numbers there, a minuscule ERA, whip under 1, a trend that Jack Flaherty hopes continues.
So Flaherty loves it at PNC. Joe Musgrove going for the Pirates. How about Joe against St. Louis? And not so much. He's 1-7 against the Cardinals.
Yeah, let's keep both these trends going. For sure, because Jack Flaherty, he's going to want to bounce back off of that start. You know how important he's going to be down the stretch. Let's keep it rolling.
Cardinals are looking for 4 out of 5 at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. It's the Cardinals. It's the Pirates. It's baseball. And it's coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. It's game 5 of a 5-game series. It's a beautiful day, 68 degrees in the Steel City. Erica Weston, Jim Hayes, Brad Thompson, Dan McLaughlin with you. Sunny, perfect for baseball, and glad that you're with us at PNC Park. The standings in the Central, the Cardinals lead the Reds by a game, and Milwaukee as well. It's still 5 games remaining between the Cardinals and the Brewers. We'll see that unfold later this week at Busch Stadium.
Yeah, nothing coming easy this season, right? The Cardinals have had to fight for everything. They'll have to fight for everything down the stretch. The schedule itself is advantageous, but it's all about taking advantage of it.
Pirates taking the field as we speak, so a look at the Cardinal lineup. Tommy Edman at the top to play second base. Paul DeYoung batting second and playing shortstop. Paul Goldschmidt will bat third and play first base. The DH is Brad Miller. Tyler O'Neill in left field. Matt Carpenter at third base. Yadier Molina, good to see him being able to be healthy enough and catch. Dylan Carlson, his versatility takes him to center. And how about Justin Williams getting a start in right field today?
Yeah, looking forward to it for Justin Williams. The opportunity yet again. He gets his second start. Already got that first career hit out of the way last time out. And he's going to be facing Joe Musgrove. The Cardinals have seen plenty of Musgrove over the last couple of years and have had a lot of success against him.
During the 9 games on this road trip, the Cardinals have won 5 with all 5 in come from behind fashion. They had to do that last night. A look at his Hyundai pitch arsenal.
Well, he's got a little bit of everything. Likes to use the slider and the curveball specifically when he's ahead. And Musgrove can be very tough if you allow him to get ahead of you and get you to 2 strikes.
The Pirates defense at PNC and Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Osuna, Reynolds, and Polanco in the outfield. Riddle, Gonzalez, Frazier, and Bell on the infield, and John Ryan Murphy is behind the plate. Brad Thompson's Toyota key to the game.
Well, today against Musgrove, it's jump him early. I mean, he is a guy that throws a lot of strikes. Since 2018, there's only one pitcher in Major League Baseball that throws strikes more often than Joe Musgrove, and it's Justin Verlander. You don't want to get him to 2 strikes. I mentioned the slider, the breaking ball a little bit earlier. Jump him early. You see a fastball in the zone, let it rip.
That's something that Jim Edmonds was talking about this entire week. Be aggressive, get a fastball, get after it.
I think that there are times, right, for those gritty at-bats and the fouling stuff off and making pitchers work, and there are also times to just run them from the game early. I like the latter today.
So Joe Musgrove was part of the Garrett Cole deal. He's been a part of a couple of big trades in baseball, but the most notable was Garrett Cole, and he'll pitch this afternoon against St. Louis. The Cardinals wrapping up this portion of the road trip and then head to Kansas City in their final, what could be their final road trip. They may have a doubleheader to make up against Detroit. And the way things are going,
they'll have it.
They'll probably have to play it. And the first pitch, a strike, and we're underway. So Tommy Edman at the top. Cardinals second baseman this afternoon. Cardinals have had, in this 4-game series, winning 3, 19 runs on 19 hits, 5 extra base hits. They've been hit 4 times, 11 walks. And last night it was all in one inning, Brad. What an odd game. They had 3 hits. It was the first time they've won a ball game in 2020 when collecting 3 hits or less, and it happened all in one inning, the 7th inning.
Well, and it happened with a lot of help, like you just mentioned. All the hit batters, the walks. Would love to see the Cardinals in this game actually put the pressure on instead of just kind of waiting to get a little help. And by the way, getting Keller out of that game last night, that helped out a tad.
Did you agree with the move?
You know what? I understand. I understand what they're doing. I know what he is to the organization. I mean, he's their prized possession.
Tommy Edman lifts a high fly ball into right. Polanco with room on the track to make the catch.
I also understand that he was coming off of the IL. It was only a second start back from an oblique issue, but I trust eyes. Like, eyeball test much more than I would trust a pitch count. What does a random pitch count mean? Like what did he look like? To me, he looked like he was going to mow everybody down that he faced, and he had retired the last 14 hitters he saw. He had a couple of hit batters. I would have left him in for another inning. He only had 84 pitches. I'm pleased with their decision. I'll tell you that.
But you can understand it, why you might want to leave him in. He was rolling through the Cardinal lineup. Paul DeJong batting second in this lineup today. And then we'll see Paul Goldschmidt. Nasty breaking ball right there. That was a frisbee.
That's a good tight slider right there we were talking about with Musgrove, and he'll use it again here with 2 strikes. Might try to elevate, change the eye level, but he'll go right back to it.
And got it there. So a strikeout of DeJong, and it brings in Goldschmidt.
So when Musgrove has gotten hurt against the Cardinals in the past, that pitch just kind of wasn't there for him. He'd throw that cement mixer one, ends up down the middle. This is just a good, tight slider. He didn't have to go too far off the plate with it. It was just a good pitch.
Goldie playing in his 50th game this year. All the Cardinals games. Only Cardinal who has not missed. And he's hit third in every single Cardinal game. Just off the plate.
Well, I know that this year offensively, Dan, has not gone exactly as planned. And look what has in 2020. But it certainly is nice to know that you have that rock in the lineup. That guy that's going to be there, he's going to answer the bell every day, and you can plug him in right there in the 3-hole day in and day out. And I'm with Goldie. I wholeheartedly disagree with that strike.
I got you. 2-1 the count. It's Jerry Meals, the crew chief. And Goldie picks up a base hit into center field. So Paul Goldschmidt with a 2-out single to center. And the batter will be Brad Miller. Today, game number 800 in his career. Recently collected his 600th hit. 2 for his last 16 with 8 strikeouts. He'd love to change that. Just 1 for 15 against the Pirates this season.
All it's going to take is one of those breaking balls that leaks a little bit too far inside. If Musgrove stays away, he might be all right here. But if he lets one of those come inside, Miller can kill that pitch on the inner half.
Seeing him pull off pitches just a bit. But if he connects, watch out. The 0-1 pitch to Brad Miller. Off the plate, 1 ball, 1 strike. Yeah, I could see if you're a fan of the Pirates, you're saying, well, last night, 15-36. After last night, 15-37. Got nothing to play for. Let our guy go. Let him hit. Let him.
Can we not have anything nice?
Let him pitch. Let him go. Let him do anything. We need something positive.
Yeah,
I don't care.
And I get the
hit, pitch, field, whatever.
Do something good. By the way, speaking of just things to root for, just from a baseball fan standpoint, a little disappointed to not see Brian Hayes in the lineup for the Pirates today, but I like him not being in the lineup for the Pirates today for the Cardinals.
Good young player.
Yeah, pretty good player. But just going back to the Keller idea, I mean, you understand he's the future of your organization. You're going to be careful with him, a lot like the Cardinals were very careful with Jack Flaherty as they came back from their 17 days off with COVID and the restart. So he's their prized possession. They're going to treat him like so. Still hated it.
I get it. 2-2. Missed inside. Musgrove is saying, now wait a minute, that was a ball one time to Goldschmidt, then it was a strike, and then it was a ball. So see if he goes back in on Miller or on some of these hitters, and if that'll be a portion of the plate that's inconsistent today.
Well, it's a portion of the plate, too, that's oftentimes inconsistent just depending on the handedness of the hitter. I mean, sometimes it's just harder to see with the lefty in the box.
And a strikeout, went with the breaking pitch. And 2 strikeouts in the inning. Jack Flaherty. Can it be a bounce back for Jack? It's Game 5. Pirates and Cardinals from PNC. Jack Flaherty. Record of 3-2. 5.5 the ERA. 1 quality start. And a look at his Hyundai pitch arsenal.
Well, you know what he's got. He's got the really good fastball that he spots up. His slider is swing and miss all day long. Curveball he'll mix in there as well. And for Jack Flaherty today, it's just going to be, hey, can he execute these pitches? Because that was the trouble against the Brewers last time out where he gave up 9. I mean, it was a weird outing for him. And the Brewers have had his number over his career so far. But just about making those adjustments, putting the pitches where you want to. He left a couple too many just over the plate last time.
Center fielder Brian Reynolds. And the first pitch, a ball. Yadier Molina catching Jack Flaherty. We saw that Yadi had to come out of the game late last night, being hit by a pitch. Back in there today, to no surprise of anybody.
It's just what he does.
It's amazing.
I mean, it is.
Season numbers on Reynolds, hitting 178. Two balls and a strike. Jack has been very tough on right-handed batters, which is no surprise with his slider. And as you mentioned, coming off a poor start against Milwaukee, and as you said, they've had his number. Jim will have more on this, but you got to wonder, with the way that they've gotten to him, is he tipping pitches against the Brewers, or have they picked up a tell with him of some sort?
You'd have to think there's something there, right? Because I just refuse to believe that the Brewers are the only team in baseball that can really square this guy up.
First innings have been a problem for Flaherty. 7 innings, 6 earned, 4 home runs. After that, he's only allowed 1 home run. Last year, allowed only 3 home runs in first innings the entire season. 3-2 pitch to Reynolds. Gets underneath it and pops it up on the infield. Tommy Edman puts it away for the out. Pirates offensively with Frazier now, then Colin Moran, Josh Bell. Eric Gonzalez, Gregory Polanco, Jose Osuna, JT Riddle, and John Ryan Murphy. There's 6 left-handed batters of the 9 for Derek Shelton in their lineup. I don't blame him. I mean, with Flaherty and that slider, you understand why.
Yeah, you try to eliminate it as well as you can. Now, he'll still back foot that thing, and he'll go backdoor with it, but it'll just put a little added pressure on him to get that curveball going the way that he wants it. That pitch right there, too, was one, and maybe that leaked a little bit further in than he wanted to, but I'd rather miss in off the plate than miss over the plate. And that's kind of what was happening against the Brewers last time. When he tried to go in, he missed on the plate.
The 2-1 pitch to Frazier. Good fastball. And a swing and a miss, and the first strikeout for Jack Flaherty. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Tyler O'Neill, Dylan Carlson, Justin Williams in the outfield. Matt Carpenter, Paul DeYoung, Tommy Edman, Paul Goldschmidt on the infield. Yadier Molina behind the plate. Look at that outfield and you think, yeah, that's a late September outfield if you're out of the race, but you're right in it.
You're piecing it together, right?
Yep.
And you're also trying to get off days for certain guys. I mean, there's so many different things that go into it, and you're waiting for somebody to get a little spark.
Colin Moran got off to a very good start. 5 home runs, drove in 7 in his first 8 games. Since then, the last 36, 3 homers, 10 runs batted in. That has been it.
He's one of those guys incredibly aggressive anyhow, and you saw it there on the breaking ball in the dirt. I mean, he's looking to do damage and do it early, but you could throw him the rosin bag. He might swing at it.
Just make sure you have the right one in 2020.
That's actually really true. So many nuances. Do you think that's going to be another one? Do you think that goes forward for another year where guys have to have their own rosin bag?
Yeah.
That's probably got another year left in it.
Yeah. The swing and a miss. Strikeout on the slider. And coming up for St. Louis, O'Neill, Carpenter, Molina. There's no score. Download the MLB app to get in-game video highlights, live pitch by pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, and much more. Fastball and a strike to Tyler O'Neill. Musgrove struck out 2 in the first. It was a single by Paul Goldschmidt. There's that slider. Nothing in 2. Cardinals are 5-4 on this road trip as O'Neill swings and misses. Strikeout number 3. In steps Carpenter.
It's a hard pitch to pull the trigger on there, too, for O'Neill. You see the slider spin. It's up in the zone. It looks hittable and just can't get it.
Tough road trip for Matt Carpenter, 0 for 19. 7 strikeouts. Getting the start today at third base. Average is dipped to 182.
Kind of one of those weird years just in general. But the Cardinals right now, with a week left to play, got 3 guys in their lineup hitting sub 200. The Pirates have 5 guys in their lineup today hitting under 200. Whew.
It's across the board. Look at some of the numbers of very good players. Very good.
Yeah. Former
position
MVPs
players
struggling.
Yes.
And I know that, you know, batting average isn't the only thing to look at, but I mean, tough.
OPS,
tough for a lot of guys.
slugging percentage way down on some of these very good players. A win today for the Cardinals would give them a season series win 7 years in a row against Pittsburgh. They haven't lost a season series to the Pirates since 2013. Outside corner and strikeout number 4.
Well, when it rains, it pours. You just mentioned the struggles that Carpenter had coming into this game. 0 for 19, 0 for 20 now. But when you're struggling, you also don't get any calls going your way. This one off the plate, Matt Carpenter, even throughout his struggles, got one of the best eyes in baseball. But not getting it there. Or home plate umpire Ed Hickox, you're going to be wide on that side of the plate.
See how Yachty is swinging the bat with that sore wrist. First pitch swinging and a foul ball. So last night, hit by this pitch, it actually hit, it looked like the patch and then the wrist. But it got him right where he had the catcher's interference with Ryan Braun this past week.
Very fortunate that it hit some of the meat first and slowed it down before it ended up hitting the hand area again. It was so great to see him. There's that same example, right, of the pitch with a right-hander. You know, if you got somebody in the box there, you're not getting the same call inside as you are away. And that's just how the umpire has to set up behind. He doesn't see that pitch as well.
I don't think it'll happen, but a week from today could potentially be the final home game ever for Yadier Molina at Busch Stadium. We haven't really talked about that.
Because we're not going to talk about it. Dan, move on.
1,993 hits. So will he get to 2,000 before this season is through?
That we can talk about. Yes.
That's up the middle. Glove by Gonzalez, and with time to make the play. Cardinals go in order in the top of the second, and there's no score.
Second, Jack Flaherty gave up 9 runs over 3 innings in his last start against the Brewers. It was the worst start of his career. There was speculation that Jack was tipping his pitches, as Dan and Brad talked about earlier. Jack was asked about it after his start. Jack didn't give a direct yes or no. He did say this: at the end of the day, if you don't execute, nothing else matters. They were on a lot of pitches. I agreed. Dan Jack said it boiled down to one thing in his last start. He said at some point you have to stop the bleeding. I just didn't do that.
And how about Dakota Hudson, another young ace? Where are the Cardinals with Dakota Hudson?
So I was texting with John Mozeliak earlier today about Dakota. John said that Dakota will be examined by the team doctor on Tuesday. He said at this point they are doubtful he will pitch again this season. So not great news, Dan.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. Flaherty 14 pitches in the first. He's been averaging about 17 to 18 per inning, so that's better than what we've seen. And here is Josh Bell, 1-2 the count.
Yeah, when Jack is at his best, and he talks about this too, strikeouts aren't something that he's going for from strike one. They're part of the process. He gets into these good counts by throwing good pitches, and if he doesn't get weak contact and out early, then he ends up finishing off the hitters. But it is important, and I think this is a big start for Jack just in general. As you mentioned, I mean, right now the Cardinals are a playoff team. He'll get another start before all is said and done heading into the postseason. Jack has to be Jack for the Cardinals to do anything. Good pitch right there.
That's 3 strikeouts in a row and his third of the afternoon.
Just dropped the big breaking ball in there on Bell. Think about this as a hitter. You got to be worried about the back foot slider. You could tell that Bell was already kind of bailing out on that one and had no chance. Just hoping it was under the zone.
Here's Gonzalez. I want to go back to Yachty, and we were talking about that, before the final out in the top of the second, as Gonzalez looks at a ball inside that next week potentially could be his final home game. I think we both believe it won't be. He's a free agent to be. Correct. However, to the bigger point of across Major League Baseball, there are guys that are playing in what are their final home games, as this is taken out to deep right, and a nice play made by Williams up against the wall.
How did that ball travel that far?
Justin Williams, a fine play in right.
Yeah, to your point, man, it seems like a really awful send-off for a lot of these players. In 2020, I mean, it is what it is at this point. I mean, there's nothing else you're going to do. You're not going to let guys come back or fans come back at the end of the season just to send off a player. Right? I understand that part of it. But there's just something that doesn't feel right about it. Like, it's that connection of players that you love over the years, and they don't get to share that. Like
your hometown guy.
Yeah, man, that's hard.
Ryan Braun in Milwaukee today. John Lester for the Cubs making a start this past week, and he was subdued in his comments after the start, saying, it might be my final start at Wrigley. And a guy that helped change the fortunes of that franchise and signing with them and leaving Boston and going to Chicago and winning that championship, and a big reason why they won. And yet no one was there at Wrigley Field. I mean, those kind of things, it's almost somber to think about.
And I think that is probably difficult for the players to even grasp it as well, because this year has just been so weird. Like, maybe you don't even allow yourself to kind of think about what the send-off would be. But I tell you what, for some of the guys that you mentioned, they're all great examples. If they don't get those, I feel like that's going to be one of those things where you look back at the end of your career and like, man, did it really end like that? Is that what really happened?
The 2-2 to Polanco outside. Jack Flaherty, 5 up, 5 down with 3 strikeouts. Good play made in right by Williams. Got Brian Reynolds to start the game to pop out to second. Swing and a miss, and strikeout number 4 for Flaherty. Coming up, Dylan Carlson, Justin Williams, and Tommy Edman. Dylan leads it off when we come back. And the Cardinals proud to honor our military who serve both at home and away. Tonight's honoree, Staff Sergeant Eric Rostamo, proudly serves our country in the U.S. Army. Sergeant Rostamo was named the Fort Leonard Wood 2020 Drill Sergeant of the Year. Thank you. We are your biggest fans. Dylan Carlson hitting 173. Big 3-run homer the other night, his second of the year, and has brought in 9. 9 runs batted in this year. Off-speed pitch, 2-0.
It's a pretty swing, too, when he connects. I mean, that was a beautiful home run. One of those ones that I kind of want to see for years on end.
He's going to be just fine.
I think so, too.
And he pulls that one down into the right field corner. Carlson on his way to second base. Leadoff stand-up double, Dylan Carlson. And the Cardinals have their second hit.
Tell you what I really appreciate about this double down the line here off of Musgrove. You got to expect, I mean, he's going to get slidered and curveballed to death, but he was ready for 93 on the inner half. The hands are so fast, able to pull those things in. He doesn't see a ton of fastballs in general, but he was ready for one and ready for a mistake. You can get in your own head a lot, Dan. I mean, you're out there, you see off speed all the time. You just end up sitting in on that, and then all of a sudden a fastball blows by you.
With the Cardinals, the way that they need to generate offense, this needs to be a single or pull to the right side. I mean, some way, somehow, get him over and get him in. They struggled to get those runs in. Now, the on-base percentage collectively for the Cardinals is pretty good. It's the slugging percentage and getting guys in. That's been the problem. So Wednesday, a first for Justin Williams as he picked up a first major league hit. That was in Milwaukee. The pickoff, and they may have gotten him. Very close. Awfully close there with Dylan Carlson.
It definitely looked at first glance like he was dead to rights.
Oh, boy.
I think he missed the tag.
I think so, too.
He had him. I mean, the timing was there. Gonzalez just, when he went to drop down the tag, just went on the far side of his arm. Ooh, lucky break. Can't be having that.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Did go, and it's 0-2. The Pirates have allowed their opponent to score in 70% of their games first. Highest rate in baseball. They're always playing catch up. That's hard.
It's impossible if you look at their record. Tell you
Good
what,
play
though,
to keep that in front.
Is a really good play. It's in stark contrast, though, to what the Cardinals have done so far on this road trip, because they've had to come from behind for each and every one of their 5 wins so far on this trip. So for them, would love to see them be able to get ahead and then utilize their strengths in this ball game. First of all, having Jack on the mound is a pretty darn good strength, and then you can hand it over to your bullpen, who's been so good, instead of playing that catch up and just waiting for something to happen. Make it happen here.
The shift on the right side for Justin Williams. Calls time. Steps out, now back in. Outfield not very deep. And the 1-2. Kept in front again. So one thing, you can shift on the right side, but with the runner at second and the speed of Carlson, third baseman has got to be aware of that. So stays somewhat close to the bag at third, opens up a huge hitting lane left side. 2-2 the count. And a swing and a miss. So first time through the lineup, 5 strikeouts for Musgrove.
After a couple of back foot breaking balls, Musgrove decides to go with the fastball and spots it up really nice. You see Justin Williams trying to pull the hands in, just not able to get there. And that was a situation, as you mentioned, coming into the at-bat, right? You put a ball on the ground somewhere, you get the runner over. We'll see if Tommy Edmonds got something for him.
Tommy hit one to the track in right field, first time up. 7-game hitting streak on the line today. 10-game on base streak. He's hit safely in all 10 games against the Pirates. And 21 career starts against Pittsburgh. Reached base safely in 19 of the 21. Nothing into the count. Tommy Edman has been so good with runners on base. 369 his average. So when he gets a hit, he's making it count. Came through again late last night in that 7th inning against Pittsburgh.
Well, he's going to have to protect here. I mean, Musgrove, if he can throw that fastball in, that's where Tommy has some struggles.
With the breaking pitch and the strikeout. 6 today for Musgrove. We're only in the 3rd. St. Louis Cardinals baseball brought to you by Bud Light Seltzer, unquestionably good. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by Steel. Find your Steel dealer at steeldealers.com. Here's Paul DeYoung. Musgrove has always been a strikeout guy for whatever reason against the Cardinals. 8 starts against St. Louis. Struck out 7 or more in 5 of the 8. He's already got 6 today. But he's also given up 8 home runs.
Well, look, if it's going to be one of those true outcome kind of days, and again, the true outcomes in baseball are your strikeouts, your walks, your home runs, that's fine. But let's get some long ball going.
Popped up, Bell over. The Cardinals get a leadoff double by Dylan Carlson, but they can't bring him in.
Inning. KK's scoreless streak came to a close last night. He said after the game he made some mistake pitches, but he might have been worried about something else as he was taking the mound last night. Last night we saw KK what appeared to be some protective lining in his cap. In fact, KK did confirm after the game that it was a protective liner inside of his cap last night. He said doctors prescribed him to wear it considering that medication, the blood thinning medication he is on. He acknowledged it wasn't comfortable to wear, and it was something he needed to work on with his delivery. But Danny, doctor's orders.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. Very interesting. Good stuff, Erica. And we talked about that during the game. We wondered if that indeed was the case, and it was. And taking every precaution necessary just to go out there and pitch.
Yeah, it's smart to do that. I mean, you want to take care of yourself. And as Erica mentioned, right, doctor's orders, you're going to take care of that. You're going to do that. But it is. And it might sound funny, right? But like any small difference in anything that you're doing or wearing, you're a creature of habit out on the mound. You do the same thing. You feel the same every time you go out there. So I'm not saying that led to any of the bad stuff that happened, but maybe it took a while for him to get a feel for things. And it was nice to see the offense get him off the hook, or at least the Pirates bullpen get him off the hook a little bit.
2-2 the count, and they did. Hartley came in. Back-to-back walks, then a hit batter, and then the floodgates opened up. The Pirates have handed the Cardinals a couple of wins in this series. The 2-2 pitch to Osuna is hit out of play. Osuna this year against right-handed pitching has had 40 plate appearances, a 103 average, 11 strikeouts. But yet against the Cardinals in 6 games, couple of home runs. He's driven in 5. All others, no home runs, and he's driven in 3. He's had some good games against the Cardinals in the past, too.
You get those guys every once in a while, right? Pedro Alvarez was one of those guys.
Oh, yeah. And there it is again. Base hit, first hit for the Pirates.
Why wouldn't he, hitting a .153, go down on a knee and hit a nasty slider?
Shaking his hands, too.
That's just baseball. Hey, not much you could do about this. If you're Jack, you executed your pitch. Now just get yourself a nice ground ball.
JT Riddle, third baseman today. Hayes has the day off. We're talking about how Hayes is the son of Charlie Hayes. There's a lot of guys now in that generation of players starting to come up. Cameron, Bichette, Biggio, Guerrero, Tatis, and Key Brian Hayes, another one.
Some good players. You know, there might be something to that genetics thing.
Growing up around the ballpark.
It might not be totally random.
No.
It's fun to see, and it's another one of those. It's fun to see, yet I also think that it's one of those like where people look and say, "How old am I? His son is in the big leagues right now. Like that's happening. I was there for the 2 Grand Slam game, or you know whatever it is." Time flies.
I remember Charlie Hayes making the catch to wrap up the '96 World Series at Yankee Stadium. I remember it. Seemed like yesterday. I remember Tatis hitting the 2 grand slams.
Now their sons are studs. That's all right.
I was calling games when Fernando was at third. I mean, senior.
You'll probably be calling games when the third is in the big leagues.
No, sir.
Not with that attitude.
No, sir. Runner goes, and not even close. Osuna caught stealing, and Yadi still going strong.
Yeah, Yadi had to remind him that he didn't, in fact, take the day off here. He's trying to cover here. It's an obvious hit and run, but couldn't cover it. Pitch was far away. And honestly, with that pitch, I mean, you've got Riddle like leaning backwards. I don't know how he was trying to cover away. Either way, the Cardinals will take it. That man gets another one.
And a fly ball that's lifted out to Dylan Carlson. Off the bat of Riddle, and the catch is made. Scoreless streak against Jack Flaherty against the Pirates in Pittsburgh. By the way, Dan Hyatt does a great job, and we were talking before the game of doing some research, and we were talking about Yadi. And I said, I'm going to talk a lot about Yadi, as we always do, because I said, I bet he's in the lineup today. And I'll get into it, but caught stealing and the difference he has made behind the plate all these years. And right on cue, he gets a caught stealing. We'll talk about it when we come back. There is no score. So we're talking about Yadier Molina, Dan Hyatt. We do a lot of research together. Dan is incredible of digging up some unique numbers. And I said, how many guys do you think that Yadi has caught? You know, all these different guys coming up this year. I'm just curious, since he came up in 2004. You know, what do you think? So I'll ask you, what do you think?
All right. Since 04, I'm going to go with he has caught 111 different pitchers. Am I close?
No.
Am I far?
Yes.
Okay. Am I high?
Low.
155.
Okay, you're right in the middle there. If you know, you're getting close.
Wait. Now am I too high? I got to split the difference. 137.
It's about. It's actually 163.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had horrible hints.
I know.
You said I was in the middle, and then that's a lot of different pitchers.
It's 163. It's unbelievable. That's a lot of guys that you're navigating through a game.
See, you hit the word here, and we get another look at the caught stealing. 299th of his career for Yadier Molina. And you might even be thinking that, well, the number, that seems low. It's because nobody goes.
It's the fifth caught stealing this season. And as you mentioned, 299 of his career. So number 300 coming up potentially this week.
Go ahead and try it again. We'll get it in this ball game. But the fact you mentioned navigating through, right? Yadi doesn't just catch anybody. He doesn't just go out there, oh, I wonder what this guy has, and just puts down fingers. Like, he knows his pitcher so well, and it doesn't matter if it's Adam Wainwright, who we know the relationship, the bond, the brotherhood that's there, if it's a guy that's called up for a cup of coffee. Like, he's going to know the ins and outs of what makes him tick, and he's going to work along with them. Like, he just never goes through the motions of anything that he does, and that is not an easy thing to do with a career like he's had.
Hit to the right side, Musgrove to the bag. I would love to ask Yadi if this has been the most challenging of his career because of all the new faces that he's had coming up with the doubleheaders and guys that probably weren't expected to be in the big league. So Nabil Crismatt, here you go. Rob Kaminsky, here you go.
Seth Elledge, get him.
And, you know, Yachty knows the league so well. That's part of it. So he knows the hitters, but yet you don't know your pitcher all that well. He's caught him a few times in spring training and so on and so forth. But understanding how to pitch to your strengths, but also the weaknesses of the hitters, and then come up with a game plan.
Yeah, well, and couple that with the fact that just with the COVID restrictions in 2020,
good point.
Even with all the different pitchers that are there, you can't have the conversations. You're not around the ballpark. You don't get to catch the side sessions as much.
Into the shift, and that'll be an error on the Pirates. Gonzalez, the shortstop.
Not sure if that ended up catching a lip there on Gonzalez, the lip of the grass there.
So
or
that
he
was
just got caught in between hops.
You let it play him for sure, though. Look at him back up on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Hey, you always want to be. I mean, there are going to be times where you get caught in that position and you need to go back. But I think he had a little time to attack this baseball and take that hop away. That just ate him up.
And now it's Tyler O'Neill. And O'Neill chops it left side. Gonzalez to second and no throw. So they'll get the lead man.
So the last one ate him up. Makes a really good play on this one because he's getting screened right there by the third baseman. Makes a nice strong throw to get Miller at second.
And the batter will be Matt Carpenter with 2 outs here in the 4th inning. Even at the last second, you could see the third baseman Riddle. He thought about going for it, then pulled it back. And strike one on Carpenter. Struck out looking, back in the 2nd inning.
That backdoor breaking ball a little bit off the plate, something he's going to have to be aware of in this at bat. He's going to try to go back over there again.
Broke his bat. Back to Musgrove. He'll flip to first and the out. The Cardinals strand their 3rd runner midway through 4, and there's no score here in Game 5 of this series between St. Louis and Pittsburgh. Back in Pittsburgh, Subway Restaurants proud to feature the Cardinals fan favorite for September, the steak and cheese sub. It's fueling fans around St. Louis all month long. And that is hit the other way. Carlson over to cut it off. Spinning. The throw into second. Offline just a bit. And a leadoff double for Brian Reynolds.
Reynolds up there just being aggressive on a fastball. Miami is a decent pitch down and away, just goes down and gets it.
And now it's Frazier. Cardinals were not able to move the runner. And this time with a bunt, the Pirates will with the bunt to the left side, moving and advancing the runner from second to third.
Little stuff, right? And I know that this season has not gone well for the Pirates, but in a game like this, the little things tend to matter. You've got Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Cardinals, and you know how tough that he's been against you if you're the Pirates. So you do what you can do. You get a bunt over, you hope to get a fly ball, and Same thing can be said for the Cardinals. While they've got a history against Musgrove and they've hit him really well, look, he looks pretty nasty today. So if you get a guy on, you're going to have to get him over. You're going to have to figure out a way to get him in. And sometimes you got to give up some at-bats to do that.
So there is a time and place for a bunt.
I still believe so. I know that there's somebody right now behind their calculator that says, no, no. But I don't fully believe in that.
And I guess it all depends on what this guy does, potentially.
Well, I hope he gets out, but
potentially.
It wouldn't help my bunt point.
Exactly. Here's Colin Moran, and Flaherty struck out 4. He'd love to get a strikeout here. Moran struck out back in the first inning. 1 ball and 1 strike. So Flaherty came into the game with 19 consecutive scoreless innings of work at PNC. Now up to 22. Only active pitcher with a longer scoreless innings pitch streak in any specific ballpark was Tony Watson, the former Pirate reliever. He had 23 scoreless innings of work at Busch. And second on that list, guy on the mound.
Watson was really good for a while.
Nasty. The check swing did not go, says Jerry Meals.
Throw it again.
I was going to say, do you go bury that slider again?
Look, you trust Yachty. You know that he's not going to let that thing kick off. You also know that Colin Moran likes to swing. So you do have a couple of options with him. That one, I mean, I like the slider down and in. You also have up above the zone with the fastball. But slider's your best pitch. In this situation, I'd keep going to it.
Infield in, and the 2-2 pitch. And the fly ball lifted to Dylan Carlson. He'll make the catch. Runner tags and scores. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh. So Colin Moran drives in his 18th.
Well, he did his job, right? The bunt ended up working here. Jack ended up going with the bigger breaking ball as opposed to the slider. Threw it for a strike, and Collins served it out there into center field, and it feels like a big run in a game where Musgrove's throwing the ball so well. And a trend will have to continue for the Cardinals if they're going to come back and win this ball game. They've won every game again on this road trip, having to come from behind. All 5 wins. Going to have to be 6 today.
Now Josh Bell with 2 outs and nobody on. Maybe why you bunt. Runner at second, nobody out. 61% chance a run scores. Runner at third, 1 out. 66% chance a run scores.
Let me do a little quick math. Is that 5% better?
There you go.
All right. I did that myself.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Bell was called out on strikes back in the second. Since Mike Schilt took over back in 2018, July 15th, Cardinals have had 72 come from behind wins. So a lot of that is due to your bullpen getting the job done too.
It is for sure, and a lot of it is also due to something that I know Mike Schilt takes a lot of pride in. His group is relentless. I mean, they don't give in. I mean, you can look at the overall numbers this year, and they're not where anybody probably wants them to be, but they don't give away at bats.
Little chopper foul. On the outside corner, strikeout number 5 for Flaherty. Pirates grab a lead. It's 1-0. to Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. All night games coming up. Cardinals and Royals, and our Bud Light Seltzer, what's on tap? And tomorrow night, Adam Wainwright, Carlos Hernandez. Waino 5-1 and a 2.87 ERA. Tuesday will be a salute to the Negro Leagues as both teams will be in Negro League uniforms, and Bob Kendrick will join us, who is the president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. Always love visiting with Bob.
He is great, man. He's a wealth of knowledge.
He's awesome. Speaker at the funeral of Lou Brock.
Told some great stories, too.
Here's Yadier Molina. Cardinals trailing 1-0. So 34 catchers, by the way, have caught at least 10,000 innings since 1974. Fewest stolen bases allowed of those 34 catchers, Yadier Molina. A 40.3 caught rate, meaning he catches a lot of guys. Third out of all those catchers, third best, behind Jim Sundberg and one Pudge Rodriguez.
I've heard of him.
It's June 3rd, 2004 that Yadi made his debut at this ballpark. It was Jason Kendall, who could run. He was a catcher, stole a base on Yadi in the 6th in that game in his debut. 2 innings later, Molina caught the first of 2 caught stealings. Sign of things to come.
That's right. Fooled me once. Shame on you. Ain't gonna happen again. He's just been such a pleasure to watch throughout the years. I love the fact that Yadi has changed into, you know, not even changed, but just continued to develop as a hitter. I mean, 'cause when he first came up, Tony told him right off the bat, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you stand up there and don't swing. You just keep doing what you do behind the plate. Well, his game has just elevated over the years. But he's still got that behind the plate. He's still got everything there.
It backs up for a strikeout, number 6. Check that, 7 strikeouts for Musgrove. Cardinals have 2 hits today. That was a Goldschmidt single to center and a double into the right field corner by Dylan Carlson.
Now you wonder with Carlson this time if Musgrove's going to just stick with nothing but off speed. He tried to sneak a fastball by him. It leaked inside, and he jumped on that. Slider there. A changeup. Definitely a changeup here. Swings through and pulls it across. Had that kind of slider action. Ooh. Hey, you know what? I'll give Carlson credit for not pulling the trigger on that, because that's a pitch that ended up hurting him quite a bit. I mean, you'd love to see Protect maybe foul it off, but that's kind of a pitch early in his career that guys have been having success. Is that changeup tailing down and away? This one appears to be well under the zone.
Now Justin Williams, 8 strikeouts. Musgrove through 4 2/3. Williams struck out swinging. Cardinals' best opportunity was a leadoff double by Dylan Carlson in inning number 3, and they could not advance him to third and bring him in. The 1-1. Change up there, 1-2.
We were talking about last inning as the Pirates manufactured a run. They had the double. They had Frazier lay down the bunt, and then Colin Moran had the sacrifice fly to center field to drive in the run. We were talking about the bunt and the percentages and whatnot. My question to you off air was, how many guys actually know how to bunt?
Yeah.
I mean, how many guys really work on that aspect of the game? Because I think they're few and far between.
Talked to Mike Schilt about that a couple years ago. I said, with some players that had a runner at third, less than 2 outs, I said, why don't you squeeze? He said, because we have players that can't. To your point.
Yeah, it's not great.
So that's the point. You know, if you have certain, and that's different personnel back then as opposed to now. But that's to your point of what you're saying. You know, maybe there's the personnel that you're not sure you're comfortable with squeezing or bunting in that spot, or you feel comfortable with them pulling the ball and getting it to the right side or driving them in. Now, if you bunt, you're not playing for the big inning. You're playing for the run. Or you have confidence in your hitter to pull it to the right side. That's the other thing. You're putting it in the personnel's hand to pull it to the right side.
Certainly. I think it comes down to also the idea of just being a complete hitter in general. It's hard. It's hard at this level. It's hard to square up a baseball. I mean, it's hard to do all of these things, but like anything else, right? Having an idea of the situation, what a guy is trying to do to you, as Justin Williams draws the walk here on the 3-2 count. But there are situations where you just have to know. You have to know what you're trying to do.
So that's a first walk for Justin Williams, a 2-out walk, and Tommy Edman will be the batter. Tommy usually third time through, and then the fourth time through, if they get there, is when he does his damage. He's 0 for 2, hit one to the track in right, and then struck out in the third. The 8 strikeouts by Musgrove matches a season high. He's 1 shy of his career high 9. He's done that twice.
Well, you got to kind of like his chances.
I would say
point.
so.
I mean, he's been spot on. He's been getting some calls also by home plate umpire Ed Hickox. He's getting the call under the zone and away.
Well off the line at third, playing the pull on the infield, and that's tapped foul. A lot of strikeouts, even a walk. You get the pitch count up. Something to think about. Get him out of the game. 71 pitches with 2 outs here in the 5th.
Yeah, I'm not sure they treat Musgrove like they treated Mitch Keller, though. He's their prized possession, although, I mean, they like Musgrove. Musgrove's been around a little bit. You know a little bit more about Joe. You know what he can handle and what he can't.
One and 2 the count. And a strikeout. That's 9 today through 5.
Surprise anyone that Yadier Molina is back behind the plate after getting hit by a pitch in the 7th inning last night. It looked like it got Yadi in the same spot that he took a shot from Ryan Braun's bat earlier in this week. Mike Schilt told me the pitch actually hit Yadi in a different part of his left wrist, and x-rays were negative. Schilt said if Yadi's going to have a chance to get on the field, he's going to take it. He's banged up, but he said he's ready to go. I trust that completely. Danny, why wouldn't you trust that?
All right, so he's back in there. Here's Gonzalez. Sent one up to the right field wall, and it was caught by Justin Williams. Back in the second. Thank you, Cat. Jack Flaherty's allowed 2 hits. 1-0 Pittsburgh here in inning number 5. Cardinals again looking for some type of offense again. Every Cardinals starter in the lineup has struck out at least once, except Goldschmidt. 9 today for Musgrove. Flaherty has thrown his fastball effectively here.
I think that Jack has done a really good job of his misses being in good spots overall. I mean, when he's trying to go in on somebody, you don't love the leadoff walk. When he's trying to go in, he's been missing in. When he's trying to go away, he's missing away.
St. Louis Cardinals baseball brought to you by Ford, the official car and truck of the Cardinals. By McDonald's. Download the McDonald's app for medium fries for just $1 after any Cardinals home run. And by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. First walk issued by Flaherty. Gregory Polanco. He's had a hard time catching up to fastballs this year. Fouled that one back. He's missed on 41% of his swings on the fastball against right-handed pitching. That's the highest rate in baseball. Now, if he gets one, he'll tattoo it.
We got a chance to see that the other night off of Austin Gomber. He caught one that was just up, a little hanging slider. He's got some power.
Another fastball catches the outside corner. Made his much anticipated debut in 2014. They had a good team. Josh Harrison, McCutchen, Starling Marte, Jose Tabata, Neil Walker. Core that helped them get into the playoffs for 3 straight years. But all those other guys are gone, and Polanco's still here. Mentioned Garrett Cole too, a big reason as to why they were going to postseason.
Yeah, certainly. It was fun to watch. It was fun to see that atmosphere there and the fans getting into it. It had been so long since they've had a successful team. The hope is for Bucco fans out there that they're building something again and that they start heading on the right track. But it has been a struggle the last couple of years, certainly.
Flaherty has struck out 5. Runner at first and a 2-2 pitch. Fastball struck him out. Entering the Phillips 66 home run kit sweepstakes for the chance to win exclusive Cardinals merchandise like an autographed item. Visit www.cardinals.com/Phillips66 to enter to win.
Jack's doing a good job of being fairly efficient in this ball game, and I love the fact that he's bounced back so well from that performance against the Brewers. You know, Dan, you know the competitor that Jack is, and you know what he puts into each and every start. I'm sure the last few days have been just eating at him, just waiting for the moment to get back out on the bump. He's looked pretty darn good.
It's got to be miserable to be a starting pitcher, have a bad outing, and have to wait those days after it and just sit there and wait and think. It's brutal.
It is. And God forbid you have a couple of them. And then you start getting in your own brain a little bit. Trust me, it's not. It's a dangerous place. But yeah, I was thinking about that too, with the idea of having the time in between. But a lot of times you have a bad outing, you could just go kind of work it off. You know, like whether it's I'm going to go for a big run, or I'm just going to go lift weights really hard and get some of that out of me. you have so many restrictions this year that it really puts a wrench in kind of everything that you want to do. And to me, that's one of the biggest adjustments for all pitchers and all position players. Everybody is like utilizing your time and doing so wisely. And maybe it takes till about this time of the year to figure out, say, oh, okay, this is my routine now. Now I've got it figured out.
And a fastball hit out of play. So the Cardinals in Kansas City tomorrow night. And then they'll wrap it up with Milwaukee. There is a doubleheader against Milwaukee, and that will be on Friday. The makeup doubleheader. Then Saturday, Sunday, and potentially doubleheader Monday against Detroit. Potentially. The 1-2. And a strikeout of Osuna. 7 today for Jack Flaherty. Now a quick word from Great Southern Bank.
Whoa! Lost your debit card in the ninth? Turn it on or off in a flash with the Great Southern mobile app.
Jack just spotting up. I tell you what, that's a pitch that he did not have in his pocket against the Brewers. He tried multiple times to go in on righties. It wasn't happening. No, he kept pulling it across the plate. Going back to our conversation earlier, Dan, about misses being good misses as opposed to bad misses. If you miss in off the plate, who cares? Live to throw another pitch. You miss over the middle, well, you're in a little bit of trouble. That was a well-executed pitch right there.
And are the Cardinals going to take a look on that pickoff? No, they will not. Here's our buddy Ali Marmol. Miss having the chance to visit with him every day.
Just another guy who seems to always have a smile on his face. Not
positive.
Not sure if he has one on now. He's got a mask. But chances are.
Probably does.
He's smiling on the inside.
I'm sure these coaches are probably a little worn out. Mike Maddox, Ali, coaching staff, certainly Mike Schilt. It has been a daunting schedule, to say the least, and trying to make it all fit, the pieces to the puzzle, especially with the pitching.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise anybody to say, to talk to any of these gentlemen and say, oh, it was only 60 games, huh? Yeah. That must have flown by.
Feels like 60
really?
years. Yeah.
Really?
Hasn't been easy. Mike Maddox was saying the other day on the Zoom with the media, he said, well, we really had a good plan coming out of summer camp, and then we had a good plan in week 1, and then that was done after about a day, and this was before the Dakota Hudson start. And he said, well, our goal is after today's start, we've got this, but that's in pencil.
Yep.
And that went after 2 innings after Hudson's start.
I don't think there's been very much pen used at all this year.
They say, and John Mozeliak says it every single time I hear him talk about it, and he's being honest. He said, let's get through the day.
Yeah.
We get through the day, and then we look towards tomorrow with our roster and see who's available, see who makes it through the day, and then we worry about tomorrow. And that literally is how it's been.
You have to. Mike Schilt kind of alluded to that a little bit today when he was asked in the pregame media session about the Cardinals starter for Tuesday. And he said, we'll let you know after the game. Because things change so quickly. All of a sudden, you got to go to a plan of, remember Dakota Hudson. He ends up getting hurt, and then Austin Gomber has to come right into that game. Like, you just never know what every day is going to throw at you.
2-2 pitch, and a slider tap foul. We do know that Adam Wainwright and Carlos Martinez, I'll say, are penciled in to
heavy pencil.
Heavy pencil. Number 2. That's the, remember the number 2 when you were a kid?
Of course I do, yeah.
Okay, they're penciled in for games 1 and 3.
I don't know why. As soon as you said that number 2 pencil, though, I'm thinking about taking a test on one of those Scantrons. Do they still have those?
Those were ugly for me. I don't like to talk about it.
I don't either.
Nightmares.
There's a reason we're here doing this.
Exactly.
And it ain't because of our Scantron scores.
No. SAT and ACT weren't pretty. So we got into broadcasting, and here we are.
I played baseball.
Yeah, I did too. It wasn't pretty there either. Runner off with the pitch with 2 outs, 3-2 the count. And And a strikeout, so he strikes out the side, and that's 8 for Flaherty. Musgrove has 9, and in 5 innings, we've got 17.
That's a math question.
Is Joe Musgrove really this good, Brad Thompson?
He is today, and we've seen him before. He's got great stuff, and it's all about location. In the past, he's made mistakes against the Cardinals, not making too many mistakes, and he's getting the calls under the strike zone and right off the plate, man. Joe Musgrove has been fantastic with everything today, and this is going to be tough. It's going to be one of those games where hopefully you don't end up looking back and saying, remember when they had that leadoff double and then left him sitting there? If you get somebody on, you got to figure out a way to get him over.
I got to go back, though, to what kind of in-game adjustment are you making? It's 9 strikeouts. Now your 3rd time through a lineup. It's the 5th inning. What's being said in the dugout? What kind of in-game adjustment are you making?
It's the idea in general of just shortening up and making something happen. You mentioned the 17 strikeouts in this ball game overall. The defense has not been worked. I mean, put a little pressure on somebody else. I've already seen it. I mean, ground ball to the shortstop on the shift, and he ends up kicking it. Put the ball in place, and decent things will happen.
Two-one pitch. 2-2. Flaherty threw 5 innings, 74 pitches, 17 whiffs, 8 strikeouts, 2 hits. Musgrove came in with 73 pitches, 16 whiffs, 9 strikeouts. Make it 10. Help Adam Wainwright raise money and combat food insecurity and support the Urban League. Adam's nonprofit Big League Impact is partnering with Topgolf in September. For more information, go to bigleagueimpact.org. Only 8 balls in play against Flaherty, 9 against Musgrove, with 150 pitches thrown.
Joe Musgrove has done a really good job, too, of getting ahead, but getting ahead with his off speed. A lot of times, I mean, you're not going to go up there, strike one, thinking, oh, hey, let me hit that nasty slider down and away. I mean, that's a tough adjustment to make, and he's been executing those pitches and then going off of it and seeing if he'll expand.
Goldschmidt is 1 for 2. Single to center. The other hit for the Cardinals, a Dylan Carlson double into the right field corner. It's now a career high 10 strikeouts for Joe Musgrove. Last Pirates pitcher to strike out 10 was Francisco Liriano. That was at Busch Stadium in 2016.
Remember how good he was when he was first with the Twins. You watch Liriano, and like he was the next guy. Still ended up having a good career. Shifted to the bullpen.
The 3-1 pitch. And Goldschmidt hits it out to deep left field at the wall, and it's a one-hopper over the wall and a ground rule double. Had a lot of topspin on it. Sinking liners, so Goldie has 2 of the 3 hits for the Cardinals.
Well, that slider right there, your Nissan drive of the game off the bat of Paul Goldschmidt. And in a game where there has been very little action and very few balls put in play, Goldie standing out at second right here in the top of the 6th. That feels like a big run standing there, doesn't it, Dan?
It's huge. Brad Miller is struck out looking, reached on an air. Shift on the right side. And strike 1 on Miller. For Goldie, that's his 4th double on this road trip. So the tying run in scoring position for St. Louis. Cardinals' primary cleanup man this year has been Brad Miller. The average from the cleanup spot has been .219. Slugging percentage is .431, which is 21st in Major League Baseball. Miller would love to change that. One out, runner at second. The 0-2. Tyler O'Neill on deck, who's 0 for 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes here.
See if Musgrove ends up going back to that changeup he threw him a couple of pitches ago. Staying away is probably the best idea against Brad Miller.
Taken low. Brian Reynolds kind of shading from the sun. It's a late odd start time for a day game in Pittsburgh, as Miller lifts a fly ball to the aforementioned Reynolds, and the catch is made. Cardinals proud to partner with Wells Fargo Advisors. Thank them for continuing to serve the community through their contributions to Cardinals Care. So the Redbirds need a 2-out hit from Tyler O'Neill, who is 0 for 2.
Well, you'd have to think here if O'Neill is going to get something, it's going to be a slider. It's going to be down and away. So what adjustment does he make? Is he able to shoot that thing the other way? Because the way that Musgrove is going right now, you can't really expect a mistake on the inner half.
Tyler O'Neill, as the Cardinals have gone 5-4 in this trip, 4 of the 5 wins by 1 run. Those 4 wins, they happen to be the 4 games that Tyler got his only 4 hits, and all 4 have been meaningful, and they need a meaningful hit here. Can he do it again? Needs something to happen. Stays away from the slider. Nobody up in the pen for Pittsburgh. Added pressure for the Cardinals. Scoreboard watch in the final week of the season. Reds beat the White Sox today 7-3. And the Brewers won over the Royals 5-3. Two 2-0 the count on Tyler O'Neill. Goldschmidt tying run at second. Slider. I don't think he's going to get a pitch to hit here with Carpenter on deck in the way that he's been swinging the bat.
Yeah, I don't think so either at this point. I mean, Musgrove was trying to attack him early, tried to throw that first slider for a strike. At this point, though, even though he's got the really good slider and he can attack him, at this point, 3-0, there is no reason to run the risk of going to him with a strike, specifically with a fastball.
The 3-0 pitch. 3-1. I would not think he gets a fastball.
No, little slider right there. Same idea. He's going to stay away. He's going to stay away with off speed.
Cardinals and Pirates both have 46 home runs, tied for the fewest in Major League Baseball, and backed up Dodgers, to put it in comparison, 100th of the season last night in their 53rd game.
That's a lot of home runs. That's a good ball club over there.
Yes, sir. Well, 3-2. They've come back to pitch to him. Will he get a pitch to hit here? The next to O'Neill. They did. He got him. 11 strikeouts, Musgrove. Take a look at our BJC Healthcare difference maker. Pitching has been the story today on both sides, and Jack Flaherty's got the job done for St. Louis.
Jack has been really, really good. He's punched out 8 so far. He's been dominant on the bottom of the strike zone across the board. The slider looks really good, getting tons of swing and misses in this ball game, and a nice bounce back so far from Jack Flaherty as he heads into the 6th.
John Ryan Murphy, then the top of the Pittsburgh lineup off the mask of Molina. So here is what is left after today. The Chicago Cubs have 4 with Pittsburgh, 3 with the White Sox. Cubs have won 5 of 6 against Pittsburgh so far this year. Mentioned the Cardinals, 3 at Kansas City, then 5 with Milwaukee. Cardinals, by the way, have won 8 straight in Kansas City. There's a slider. Cincinnati, they've got 6 games left. 3 with Milwaukee, 3 at Minnesota. Cincinnati has taken 4 of 7 from the Brewers. So that's when you've got to win, when those two teams are going head to head. And for Milwaukee, 3 at Cincinnati. And then 5 at St. Louis. Milwaukee, they have dropped 8 of their last 11 on the road. So those 5 in St. Louis may come down to that.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? I mean, it is going to be a wild, wild week. But as Mike Schilt has talked about plenty, the Cardinals are in the driver's seat. I mean, they are in control of their destiny at this point. So it's not about the hoping and wanting and wishing other teams to lose or other teams to win. You have to scoreboard watch. If you do your job, if you take care of your business, you'll be in the postseason. You'll be in the bubble, and you'll be playing for a championship.
And the Royals, tomorrow's opponent, 4th straight losing season. They went 1-9 against the White Sox this year. White Sox clubbing the baseball everywhere. Man, that lineup is loaded. 3-2 pitch. Out of play. They don't score a lot of runs, the Royals, averaging about 4 a game, 5th worst in baseball, but their bullpen has been pretty good. ERA that's just under 4, 8th best in baseball. So we'll see that tomorrow night, and you can see the game on Fox Sports Midwest. Popped up again. Molina gives it a look, and it's out of play.
Well, at the very least, just talking about that bullpen, at least one piece is out of there.
Trevor Rosenthal. Now with San Diego. That winds up being maybe a difference maker this season when Mike Matheny kept Trevor in that game. And you know how badly Mike wanted to win that game, and Trevor really extended him close to 40 pitches. Cardinals came back to win it. There's a leadoff walk. That's what happened last inning for Jack, a leadoff walk, and then struck out the side. And you know that Mike Matheny wants nothing more than to play spoiler starting tomorrow night.
For sure. For sure. And any ball club does. I mean, any team at this point, the Pirates. So the Pirates are trying to do that. They have nothing tangible to play for this season except for reps next year and ruining somebody else's fun. But there is that added element of going up against your former team and seeing if you can be the one that kind of puts the foot on them.
Lefty Derek Holland starts to throw in the Pirates' pen. The last Pirates pitcher with 11 strikeouts against St. Louis was Eric Bedard back in 2012. Wasn't he like watching grass grow?
Yes, very similar. But he could spot up pretty well. But he sure took his time, didn't he?
Oh, man. Just remember, he was quite the slow worker.
Sometimes you just got to lull him to sleep.
And he did that. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Flaherty has struck out 8 this afternoon. 2 walks.
So this is where that eyeball test starts coming in. You've seen a couple of pitches just fly off, kind of arm side for Jack Flaherty as they're stirring in the bullpen a little bit. Brian Eversger just got himself a phone call.
Tyler Webb starting to get loose in the Cardinal bullpen. And the 2-2 pitch. And a strikeout, number 9 today, to add to the season high for Jack Flaherty.
This is so well spotted right here, and he's had a couple of strikeouts with the fastball down in the zone. This one's 95. It's on the outer third and just perfect at the bottom of the strike zone. I know that there's a lot of talk, and there's the effectiveness too of pitching up in the zone. The fastball's up, the curveball's off of it. Look, if you can throw 95 at the bottom of the strike zone, you're going to have a lot of success. I like that he lives down there.
Five of the 9 have been looking today for Jack Flaherty. The slider taken low. Cardinals are trying for their 13th straight season to finish 500 or above, the longest streak in the National League. The second longest streak in St. Louis Cardinals history. Longest is 15. Did that from 1939 through 1953.
The Cardinals have not been able to separate themselves from that number much this year, that 500. I mean, they've been hovering right around it, just under or just above.
It's been 2 above, 2 below. Never more than that. And for the Pirates, their winning percentage is at .288. They are 15-37. That is 4th worst all time in their history. Two of the others that are below that are for teams in the 1800s. The 1890 club, the 1884 club, and the 1952 team. That's it.
Oh.
It's been rough.
Yeah, it's not really the list you want to put your team on.
3-2 pitch. Hit out of play. John Gant joining Webb. So John Gant twice in this trip has been up and throwing but never come into a game.
Well, we know how much different your bullpen is with Gant there and him available, so it's good to see him up throughout this road trip and likely getting into this ball game at some point.
Cardinals are hoping that Gallegos and Dexter Fowler in this final week could come back.
It's a couple of really big additions. We know what Giovanni Gallegos has been to that bullpen, whatever the role shakes out to be. It's going to be high leverage. And Dex was rolling, man. Like it was probably as good as we've seen Dexter Fowler play in a Cardinal uniform. So it'd be awesome to get him back in the fold as well.
3-2 pitch, not running, and it's hit out of play. Well, Jack Flaherty on these 3-2s is saying, here you go, hit it. Frazier bunted back in the 4th inning, moving Reynolds to second, and that was with 1 out. And Colin Moran brought him in with a sac fly, and that's the only run in this game back in the 4th inning. 3-2 pitch.
Frazier's making him work, that's for sure. 9 pitches so far in this at bat, and with Frazier specifically, I like the approach here of, hey, go with the fastball, see if you can hit it. He came in action today hitting a .178 against the fastball, so he is not driving these things, and if he hits one hard enough on the ground somewhere, you got yourself 2 outs. He moves a little bit, but you got a good infield.
Got him with the slider. That's 10 strikeouts. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light Seltzer, unquestionably good, and by St. Louis Children's Hospital and Washington University physicians, doing what's right for kids. 10 strikeouts for Flaherty.
Frazier had fouled off 4 fastballs in a row, and then he just snaps off that bad boy. Have a day.
Strike 2, Colin Moran.
I'll tell you right now, the way that Jack is throwing the ball, and hey, look, Musgrove has been fantastic as well, but hanging an L next to that name doesn't feel right today. I mean, the Cardinals got to figure out somehow, some way to get moving here.
9th career 10 strikeout game or more for Jack Flaherty. Little bit low. Next pitch, number 100 today for Jack Flaherty. I'd say he's been built back up.
He's good to go. Cardinals take care of business here in the next week. If they find themselves in the postseason, that man right there, he's going to have to do some heavy lifting.
The way that the postseason is set up, you don't get a lot of time off. I mean, you're in there. And there's not off days. Very interesting to how first round moves into the next round and subsequent rounds, and no off days. Away you go.
At general postseason, obviously you have travel days. Well, there is no travel.
Nope.
So we're going to give you wall-to-wall action, and the teams with the depth are going to be the teams that end up having a good chance, and the Cardinals have plenty of depth. Now, you're obviously going to have to get some offense going as well. You're not going to be able to win games just because you pitch really well. But you got to like where they're coming into this from a pitching standpoint if they keep taking care of business here for the following week.
Pitch number 102. Struck him out. His final pitch of the day. 11 strikeouts. Jack Flaherty strikes out the side in the 6th inning. Carpenter, Molina, and Carlson coming up for St. Louis. Started. Well, we basically did, but it's that time of year in 2020 to scoreboard watch. So Cincinnati a win over the White Sox 7-3. Milwaukee defeats Kansas City 5-3, and Minnesota and Chicago, they'll play later tonight. This is the Gateway Honda home run inning. Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri if a Cardinal hits a home run. Derek Holland is the new pitcher. Musgrove strikes out 11 Cardinals. And Jack Flaherty with 11 strikeouts for St. Louis. 22 combined in this game from the starters.
Yeah, if you like good pitching, you've enjoyed this one so far. And seriously, both guys have been really, really good. I think there are some ball games where you look at it and just say, well, the offense just can't get going. And the Cardinals offense has not gotten going. But tip of the cap to Musgrove, and kind of happy he's not in there anymore. Maybe they get something going against his bullpen again.
It was the 7th inning that they got it going last night. And ball 1.
Well, it started out with some help last night, didn't it? The Chevy call to the bullpen. Derek Holland here. A couple of walks, hit batter. difficult to always rely on help, though. Sometimes you gotta create it.
The last 7 outs that Flaherty got were all strikeouts. A couple of walks mixed in, and that was it.
He was dominating, and dominating just that lower part of the strike. So we haven't seen him do that that well, maybe all season, really. I mean, I know there have been a lot of stops and starts for him.
I know sometimes the camera angle changes from broadcast to broadcast, but to me, Carpenter looks like he's off the plate a little bit in this at bat. Take a look. See what you think.
Yeah, definitely could be. And if he is, that probably looks like it's a mile off the plate, and he's got no chance to be able to get to that one, but he's trying to protect the inside, making sure he can get to something.
Matt has been called out on strikes and grounded back to the pitcher. Hits it the other way. Base hit, Matt Carpenter. So the Cardinals get the leadoff man aboard.
Carp just fought that thing off. Derek Holland threw the fastball right in his kitchen, and that left side was wide open with the shift.
So for Matt Carpenter, boy, did he need that. Snaps an 0 for 23. First hit on the trip, and now Yadier Molina. And a strike on Yadi. 0 for 2 today, grounded out to short. Called out on strikes back in inning number 5. Ooh, and Holland looks back at Ed Hickox. Kind of shaking his head. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, you get that one. He got that one to the lefty. You're not getting the call inside. It just hasn't happened all day. Ed Hickox has been very consistent with that aspect of it.
Kathy Kelly, Andrew LaRose, Chris Craddock, season ticket holders of the game. Thank you for your continued dedication to the St. Louis Cardinals. 2-1 the count. Room on the right side. Two and two. Derek Holland made a start late last season, you may recall, with the Chicago Cubs in that final weekend. Was pitching with Texas back in the 11 World Series.
He's been around, hasn't he?
Yep. The 2-2. And Yadi hits it down the left field line. Is it gone? It is gone! Yadier Molina, 2-run homer. St. Louis needed it. Yadi delivered.
Seventh inning yet again. It happened last night. The Cardinals struck for 5 when they were getting no hit. Well, here we go. Carpenter started off with a single the other way. Yadi gets a slider down and in and jumps all over this bad boy. Got some smiles, got some excitement in a game that just kind of felt dead from an offensive standpoint. Not shocking to have 4 right in the middle of it.
Yadier Molina with the home run. And Dylan Carlson hits it sharply to third. And the first out here in the 7th inning. Cardinals go on top 2-1. Yadier Molina the home run. And thanks to Yadier Molina, the Gateway Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri.
Look at that smile right there. Holland just trying to bury that thing back foot, trying to get Yadi to swing over it, but he does not get it there. Yachty got every bit of that thing.
So the Gateway Honda dealers, $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Hit number 1,994 for Yadier Molina. Harrison Bader will hit against the lefty. That's pinch hitting now for Justin Williams. After the ground out by Dylan Carlson.
Just talking about a minute ago how it didn't feel right the way that Jack Flaherty had been throwing the ball to potentially have an L next to his name. Well, the Cardinals flipped that with one swing of the bat. Jack in a position to win this ball game.
And Bader hits it out to left, and the catch is made. '50th career go-ahead home run of Yadi's career, number 160 in the career of Yadier Molina. Now Tommy Edman. Hit sharply and a base hit. Tommy Edman is 1 for 4.
Well, pretty evident the Cardinals are a tiny bit more comfortable with Holland on the mound as opposed to Musgrove. I mean, just the takes even have been better and the swings have been bigger. I mean, look at this big hack right here, slider in. See that thing just spinning up there. You know it's a tight slider when you just see a dot. Well, that one you saw a big circle.
It's an 8-game hitting streak for Tommy Edman. On base streak now of 11. It's Paul DeYoung. Paulie's about due. A couple of strikeouts. Over 3 today. Taken just a bit low. So Josh Bell to lead it off, and then Gonzalez and Polanco. Cardinals will turn around Bell. Right-handed hitting Gonzalez, left-handed hitting Polanco, with Tyler Webb coming up. The 1-1 pitch instead of check on Tommy Edman. Cardinals are 25-6 at PNC Park when Yadier Molina knocks in a run.
You go, we go.
There you go. That's an amazing stat.
Yeah, it is. Let's make it 26-6.
Inside. And the 2-2. Full count on DeYoung. Tommy Edman off with the next pitch. Let's see if Paul DeYoung can't just unload on this next one. Get a pitch to drive. you know that they don't want to have Goldschmidt come up with 2 runners on. And DeYoung lifts a ball high in the air out to deep left center. And the catch is made. Sent it to the track. But Reynolds there. The home run hit by Yachty. And with that, the Cardinals a little smile and a 2-1 lead. Stretch wherever you may be.
Home run off the bat of Yadier Molina. The Cardinals have maintained all weekend long in this series that once they got into the Pittsburgh bullpen, that was a situation that they could thrive in. But I asked manager Mike Schilt before the game today about the offense as a whole. He said, we've seen versions of it this week, but you know, we want to do damage, we want to slug, we want to have those balls in the gap. But he said there's a hybrid there. We want to do damage with the home runs, but we want to have it situationally as well and be able to have the offense to do both. But he said it's simply put, like Jose Oquendo always says, Danny, just worry about getting the guy in. Don't worry about getting everybody in.
Well, with one swing of the bat, he got one guy in and then another, and that'll work too. So they need offense. They got it from Yadier Molina. That was big for St. Louis as Bell hits it out of play. The Pirates starters this series against the St. Louis starters. As you get a look at the changes, it's been one of the differences, and then the relievers as well. So Bader in center, Carlson in right. As Bell chops it left side. And that's the first out here in the bottom of the 7th. Or Chevy called to the pen.
The Pittsburgh starters overall, honestly, Dan, I think that, they threw the ball pretty well throughout this series, especially the last couple of days. But you're right, the big difference has been the pens. The Cardinals been able to get to the Buccos, and here we are in arguably the biggest strength of the Cardinals club. So hopefully that strength continues in this one and down the stretch.
Gonzalez with a fly ball into left. O'Neill is there, 2 away. So the Kia give it everything, and we were just talking about it, the bullpen and just how good it's been really all year. But the last 3 games, 9 innings, couple of hits, no runs, and 11 strikeouts. Last 3 games for St. Louis.
What you like to see, these guys just going out there being aggressive. Talk about aggressive. Hennessy's just goes out there and slings it, doesn't he? He's looking pretty darn good, and the Cardinals just in general, once that phone call happens down to the bullpen, you feel really good about the job getting done. And it hasn't seemed to matter who ends up being the guy that gets that call.
Here's Gregory Polanco. Nick Turley throwing in the Pirates bullpen.
Polanco with his struggles overall this year, but hitting only 143 against left-handers.
The Pittsburgh relievers in this series as compared to the Cardinals, their ERA is over 8. And so there's your difference. Late inning magic for St. Louis offensively against the bullpen of Pittsburgh. 8.21 ERA in the 4 games, now 5. Then one caught our home plate umpire Ed Hickox. He shook up a bit, so the training staff of the Pirates out to check on him.
Yeah, those ones are always scary. It looked like it was a glancing blow, but you could just tell in the slow-mo replay. Just see the head kind of shake. Going to talk it over with the crew. Smart idea, too, get everybody in there. They would know much more than the Pirates trainer if their guy is okay, if he seems okay. Looks like he is good to go.
And fouled back again. Two and two the count.
Little slider down the way right here, get him to swing under or locate a fastball.
And it's a fastball, strikes out Polanco. And Polanco slams his helmet in frustration. That's 12 Pirate strikeouts today. As presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals have out-hit the Pirates 6-2, and they have a 2-1 lead. Yadier Molina, two-run homer in the 7th. To put St. Louis on top, our Chevy call to the pen, Nick Turley. His numbers in 21 games.
Little breathing room would be nice, Dan. We just talked about the confidence the Cardinals have in their bullpen, and rightfully so. This group has been really, really good, but it's been a group that's been worked quite a bit. Love to be able to take a little pressure off of them.
It's Goldschmidt, and then Rangel Ravelo has moved to the on-deck circle for Miller. And then Tyler O'Neill. Shift on the left side for Goldie. Two-hit day. Single and a double. Breaking ball and a strike. Looking ahead to the bottom of this inning, Osuna, Riddle, and John Ryan Murphy, 7, 8, 9. One and two the count on Paul Goldschmidt. No one throwing yet in the Cardinal bullpen. John Gant had been up and throwing, maybe saving him for the 9th. And do you go with another inning out of Webb potentially? Who knows?
Definitely got options. That's the beauty of the Cardinals bullpen. It sets up so well. Haven't seen Gant. I mean, it's been a while since he exited the game with the groin.
And a strikeout of Goldschmidt. So both teams now have struck out 12 times in this game. Cardinals Magazine commissioned an exclusive bobblehead of Yadier Molina. And you can get yours by signing up for a 2-year subscription to the best publication in baseball. Visit cardinals.com/magazine or call 314-345-9000. So here is Ravelo. Pinch hitting for Miller. And he sends one into deep right center. With room to make the catch, Brian Reynolds.
I like the aggressiveness, though, by Ravello right there. See something over the zone, he's swinging hard.
You mentioned it earlier. Be aggressive. Get a pitch, drive it.
That's it. And the Cardinals, unfortunately, against Musgrove, they did not get too many pitches to drive. He made very few mistakes, and he missed a whole lot of bats. But this bullpen here for the Pirates, a little bit different animal.
Shift on the left side. Tyler O'Neill. John Gant up and throwing, so it looks like he'll be coming in. O'Neill has struck out twice, grounded into a fielder's choice. 0 for 3 today. Two and 0. The 2-0 pitch to Tyler O'Neill.
Turley's been flicking in those breaking balls, and he's got 95 up above the zone. Have to think, and it all depends upon how next inning goes with Gant. I mean, we know he can have some quick innings. Thinking towards the 9th, though. Genesis Cabrera pitched 2 days in a row. We'll see.
O'Neill strikes out. 2-1. Middle of the 8th. Our T-Mobile ticket to the game, and it is a look at the Kansas City Royals, Milwaukee Brewers, and Detroit Tigers. So that is the remaining schedule after we finish up here at PNC Park. And Detroit at the bottom of that graphic, still to be determined. But the way things have gone, it's a tight schedule. You would think you're going to have to play those 2 games.
You might as well bank on playing those games, that's for sure. The Chevy call to the bullpen, John Gant in the mound. We haven't seen John Gant in the game, Dan, for a week. He came out of the game against the Reds, had the groin issue just a couple days also after Giovanni Gallegos had his issue. It's great to see him back in the fold. They never had to put him on the IL. You knew he was going to jump right back into big spots. He's got a big one here.
Here's Osuna. And the first pitch. Tapped foul. Osuna single to left back in the 3rd, then was caught stealing and called out on strikes back in inning number 5. JT Riddle on deck, and then John Ryan Murphy. They still have Hayes on their bench, which would be a dangerous bat before this one is through. Colton Wong is into the ball game for St. Louis. That pitch just a bit low. StatCast presented by Google Cloud.
Right on the money. 299th time of his career. I just don't advise running on him.
Not many do. 3-1 pitch from John Gant. 3-2. So Wong at second base, Edman at third, Bader now in center, Carlson in right. Some of the changes the Cardinals have had the last couple of innings.
Got your run prevention unit out there, right? You're D'ing up.
Richard Rodriguez, right-hander, throwing in the bullpen for Pittsburgh. One away. So Osuna is 1 for 3. Only 2 hits today for the Pirates at PNC Park. Cardinals with 6, and the big one, a 2-run homer hit by Yadier Molina in the 7th. Cardinals were trailing 1-0 at that time. Here's Riddle 0 for 2. And a breaking pitch, tap foul. Fly to center and struck out. So the Pirates have struck out 12 times, the Cardinals 13. Jack Flaherty finished his afternoon off. Last 7 outs were strikeouts.
It was good to see that for Jack, too. I mean, he hadn't had an outing like that since his first outing of the year against the Pirates. Pounding the strike zone, just attacking. Especially after a rocky outing against the Brewers, who he's going to have to figure out again. Love seeing that.
And the 1-2 pitch to Riddle. And a fly ball lifted out to Bader with the catch. One thing that John Gant does well, we'll see if it continues today, but he keeps the ball in the ballpark. Hasn't allowed a home run 35 straight innings dating back to last year. That's the 5th longest streak currently in baseball.
Well, it comes down to the super sinker that he gets. He gets so much weak contact just in general. Very rarely do you even see the fly ball because the infield is generally working so much when Gant's on the mound.
So 2 outs and nobody on. And that's a strike. John Ryan Murphy grounded out to short and walked in the 6th. 1 pitch. Hit left side. Tommy Edman cuts it off. The tag applied by Goldschmidt. 1-2-3 for John Gant. Coming up for St. Louis, Yadier Molina due up second. 2-1 our score. 21 games so far this season. Opponents only hitting 176 against him. And he's in for the 9th inning against St. Louis. 2-1 our score.
Rodriguez has been very effective. Just fastball, slider. Nice to see Gant back out there. Nice, quick, efficient inning. 13 pitches for him.
Looking at to the bottom of the inning, you've got Reynolds, a switch hitter, Frazier, Moran. So some lefties. You got Bell, you turn around to the right side. They could have Hayes come in and pinch hit. One of those spots, you know, you wonder if the Cardinals would want to look at an Andrew Miller in that spot. Only 13 pitches for Gant, so there's some things that you could do here. We'll see how Mike Schilt wants to play it. Here's Colton Wong, and there's strike 1. Nothing in 2. It's back in the 7th inning. The Colton Wong later came in for Matt Carpenter, who was sawed off on a pitch. Wound up going the other way against Derek Holland. That set up the dramatic home run by Yadier Molina.
You'll take it, right?
Oh boy. Right when we were talking about those scenarios, there's Andrew Miller, just picked up a baseball and starts to throw. The 2-2 pitch. Spoiled by Wong.
Was thinking about that with John Gant. The one potential downside of sending him back out for a second inning, just coming off of the groin issue, is that you're hot and then you're cold. You go sit down and then go get hot again. Maybe you try to stay away from that a little bit.
It's a good point. The 2-2. Taken high, 3-2 on Wong. Think that guy has any fun playing the game of baseball?
Nope, can't stand it. It's amazing he's hung on this long, isn't it?
It looked like halfway when the ball was coming from Derek Holland, he was smiling when the ball was there. It was like, oh, that's the pitch. I'm going to hit it out. He was smiling when he hit it.
Licking his chops. He definitely had that little grin, too. Just that childlike grin after he hit it up the line to first base. Go ahead and do it again.
And he's also as tough as they come. Last night, hit by the pitch. So we were wondering, would he be in the lineup today with what has been a tough road trip on that left wrist and arm for Yadier Molina? He's in there today. Bam. The smile. I love it.
It's great.
The Bud Light Seltzer play of the game.
Feels good, man. Feels good in that spot. You know that Yadi, I don't care if it's a 60-game season or 162, he probably doesn't have a day where he feels great as much as he gets beat up just on a normal basis.
Hit and run was on. Thought they may do that with Wong at first and Yadi up at the plate. Tough pitch to do it on. It was running up and in. Still protected the runner. Popped it up and Wong back to the bag at first. You knew that was coming. Late innings, 1-run lead. Wong at the bag at first.
It was the right scenario with the right two guys up. Yadier Molina handles the bat as well as anybody on the Cardinals. You always feel comfortable in that situation, you know, putting that in his hands.
Now Dylan Carlson. A double, strikeout, and a ground out. Showing bunt as they have shifted against him here. Even where they're playing his kind of speed, if he bunts, he can beat that out.
For sure.
Ooh, good rip by Carlson. You know, that's the kind of swing we have not seen a lot of from Dylan. He's really been in between.
In fairness, I think that's the kind of swing we haven't seen a lot of from the Cardinals in general. Hey, I'm coming out of my shoes right here. I'm looking to make something happen. You got to pick your spots for swings like that, certainly. Like there are counts that you do it. There are game situations where you do it. But that was a 1-0, a fastball count, and he saw one up. I love it.
A ball and a strike on Carlson. 1-2. Miller continues to throw in the Cardinal pen. He'll have the bottom of the ninth. Pitch in the dirt. Wong staying put at first base. Again, due up for the Pirates. The switch hitter Brian Reynolds. Left-handed hitting Adam Frazier. Left-handed hitting Colin Moran. You're going to see Hayes before this game is through. The 2-2 pitch to Dylan. Fastball right down the middle.
Just caught him guessing. See Dylan slapping himself in the head right here. Said, what are you thinking? He just obviously looking for off speed.
Harrison Bader. Lined out back in the 7th inning. Wong, good jump, and a stolen base.
That's that big high leg kick right there by Rodriguez. And you're right, Colton does get a really good jump, doesn't waste any time. As soon as he sees the foot go up, he is gone. Has this thing stolen easily. Now a little 2-out base hit.
Fastball, 1-1.
Again, just kind of caught looking for something else. Caught trying to think ahead, guessing slider, and getting a very hittable fastball.
Two and 1 the count. There's the 15th stolen base this season for the Cardinals. 87th in the career of Colton Wong. He's at second base. And that pitch taken outside by Bader. Tommy Edman on deck. So Miller plenty loose. Just standing on that bullpen mound, squatting and ready to roll. Get a pitch to drive here. 3-1 the count. Off the plate and ball 4. So good speed for the Cardinals with Bader at first, Wong at second. And runners at first and second for St. Louis. It's a pitching coach, Oscar Marin, out to visit. And here he is again, Tommy Edman, in these late inning situations where he has done a ton of damage. Come through late. One for 4 today. Talked about it earlier with runners on, close to a 370 hitter at the start of play.
Just aggressive in the zone. Not going to take much to get Wong in from second either, the way he moves.
And the outfield is fairly shallow. Ball in the gap, that's going to score 2. And a strike on the outside corner. .316 with runners in scoring position. Tommy Edman. Wong is running, and he'll take third, and now Bader second. They weren't even paying attention to him.
Caught him sleeping. Yeah, absolutely. Now that one breaking ball that you end up trying to bury here that kicks away. ends up being some insurance.
The 1-1. One ball and 2 strikes. Boy, they've seen a lot of fastballs just go by.
Just haven't been able to pull the trigger. The question is, you know, what's the thought process, right? Like, what is the approach? Are you just looking for spin and looking to hit that up?
And the 1-2 pitch. Fastball got him. Strikeout of Tommy Edman. Cardinals have struck out 15 times today, but they have a 2-1 lead. 11 strikeouts. Yadier Molina has a hit today. It's a 2-run homer. That's the difference in the game. Musgrove, he had 11 strikeouts. Colin Moran had the sac fly and run batted in to account for the 1 run for Pittsburgh. So Andrew Miller is our Chevy call to the pen.
Well, Andrew has been really good here recently. Struck out the side last time out. He pitched in game 2 of the doubleheader on Friday. Ended up picking up the W in that one. A lot of just interchangeable pieces for Mike Shilton, Mike Maddox at the back end of the bullpen, but this is definitely your guy with the most save, most closing experience.
And a strike. Underway here in the bottom of the 9th. The last 5 saves for the Cardinals have been by Gallegos, Helsley, Webb, Cabrera, and Miller if he can collect career save number 62 here. So he's not foreign to this spot. 5 different closers. First time this year Miller has appeared in the 9th. Brian Reynolds, by the way, 0 for 6, 4 strikeouts against Andrew Miller. The 2-1 pitch to Reynolds. Lifts a fly ball out to left. Wynn pulls it back into foul territory, and the catch is made. The catch made by Tommy Edman. You got Adam Frazier here, and then Colin Moran. And a strike. Cardinals trying to take 4 out of 5 here in Pittsburgh. Quickly, 0-2.
Comes that big old sweep and slider here. Going to swing right over it.
There's the slider. There's Wong. There's 2 away. And the Cardinals 1 out away from taking 4 out of 5, which is what they needed to do at the start of this series. Not only win the series, but take 4 out of 5 or a sweep. And I got to ask you, where is Key Brian Hayes? You're going to let Moran face him here?
I am shocked that he's not in. So maybe it was kind of telling that he had the day off anyhow. I think that this kind of tells you he's dealing with something. You would have to believe.
It's popped up. Molina over. And out of play.
That's the only thing that makes sense, right? I mean, young kid, first of all, having the day off in general, as good as he's been, and then not being in this spot.
Now, he was hit by a pitch. So I'm with you. I mean, that's this late in the season. You want to see the young man play every day. So he's got to be dealing with something. But to let Moran hit in this spot against Miller,
It's not favorable, that's for sure.
Oh, 0-2 the count with 2 outs. Swing and a miss. Miller gets the strikeout. The Cardinals win it 2-1. They take 4 of 5 in Pittsburgh.
Cardinals had a job to do in this series, and they do it, taking those 4 of 5. Jack Flaherty getting it done, and that man again. Yadier Molina strikes with a 2-run bomb. What a game.
We wrap it up in a moment. 2-1 the final. Post-game show coming up. Big win for the Cardinals off to Kansas City. Nicely done, St. Louis. Nicely done, Yachty. Post-game next.